doing the CP 101, and I thought while I was waiting on about 4 or 5 things to dry on the bat plane, one of them was Batman and Robin, I thought I would talk about resin bodies, and I thought I would show real quick how to work with the resin body, and this is mainly for the new guys who might never experienced working with the resin body. For those of you that have, you already know all this, so you can just go grab a cup of coffee, or grab a beer, whichever you drink. But anyway, really, it's not too much different than a plastic body. Like a plastic body, you want to wash it, clean it up. Like a plastic body, you want to get rid of any flash, if there's flash. And of course, you're always going to get flash with the resin body. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't on a plastic body. If there's any mold lines on it, just like a plastic body, you sand it down and get rid of it. The only difference really between a plastic and a resin body is when you go to mate it up with the interior and frame. That's where you have to be careful, because unlike a plastic body that's, pretty thin, resin bodies are usually thicker. And some guys who don't know how to cast very well, inside here is extremely thick. So you always run into trying to get the interior bucket to fit, or try to get the frame to fit, because inside is smaller than what it was designed for. A plastic body, it's much larger because it's thinner. So you have to, that's really the only thing you have to watch, is the fitment of the frame and the interior inside the body. Now this one we're really good on because A, Jimmy Flintstone does pretty good stuff, and B, the body isn't that much thicker than the plastic. This is still a little thicker, but it's not that much thicker. I've seen bodies where I had to spend 2 days hogging out the interior of the body so I can just get the tub and frame to fit in it, because the inside was so thick. But yeah, this one is actually pretty good. We're not going to have a whole lot of work to do. We got some, but it's not too bad. It's actually pretty good. So usually what I do is, first thing I usually do is I take the tub out, or the floor pan out, and test fit it to see where I'm going to be at. And this one fits really well. I'm not going to have too many issues with that. That's going to be pretty good there. Then I'll take the frame and see how the frame fits, and where I'm going to have to do some fine work on. And this one is pretty good. It fits, actually it fits quite well. So, we're good there. Now you can see here, these front frame rails are supposed to fit in between this point, I'll show you on the plastic, this point here and here. It fits right in between these two. It sits on top of this, the inner fender wells. Well, on the resin body, it doesn't do that. It does on the one side, but it's off on the other side. And the reason being, and I'll show you, is because in this body we have a big chunk of resin right there, and a little bit of resin right here. So we've got some resin that we need to wallow out of there, so that frame rail can drop between these 2 points. It drops down into here and here. So to do that, I'll probably take a Dremel motor and a router bit, come in here and hog this out right here and clean it all up, get all that resin out of there, and then the frame rail should just drop down in there. Now, if you use a Dremel motor, whether you're using a sanding drum on it or a router bit, I'll be using a router bit on this point up here. Make sure you wear a mask, because that dust is really super fine stuff. It gets everywhere. It's kind of like Bondo dust. I can remember when the body shop guys, the body shop where I used to work, I can remember those guys with beards. They would come out looking just like Santa Claus. Their beards were snow white of Bondo dust. Of course, that was back before people were wearing masks and crap like that. But just like resin dust, it's just like binder dust. It gets everywhere and it's real fine. So make sure you want to wear a mask. But we're going to be hogging these out with a Dremel motor and a router bit, and that should allow the frame to drop down in there and fit like it does on the plastic body. So we're going to be good there. And then we need to come back in here with our X-Acto blade, a sharp blade, mine's dull, and kind of clean up some of the flash from the resin here from the casting process. Cleaned up the windows here already, the front windows. Started to do the back, but it's real easy. This stuff will usually break out. You can take a sharp X-Acto blade, punch it, and just kind of go around the opening where the resin is, and usually it will just break right out of there. If it doesn't break, you can just go back, break out what you can, and just go back with the X-Acto blade and carefully just clean up the opening. And if you don't want to do that, you can just take a 220, 320 stick, come back in here and just sand it and get it all nice and perfect, just like that. So that's how you do the get rid of the extra flash along the bottom. You do it the same way around the fender opening, wheel openings. You can do it the same way. You can just take your X-Acto blade and just come in here, and usually it'll just break right off, but if it doesn't, you can just carefully cut it with your knife. And need to get a new blade, and it'll just come right out, and you can go back with with a sanding stick and clean up the area and get it nice and smooth and looking all spiffy. Now the inside here, after I opened up the windows here, I saw right away that on the inside here we have a couple spots. I'll show you that's going to interfere with putting the glass in it. We have a burger right here of resin that we'll have to hog out with our router bit. Just like up here, we're going to have to hog out. So we got spot here, spot here, spot here. We have two spots back here. There's a burger of resin here, burger over here. That might interfere with the glass, so we want to get rid of that. I'm just looking here real quick. We got one over on this pillar too that will interfere with the side glass right here. Oop, wrong way. There we go. Right here we're going to have to clean up. But overall, that's really pretty good. I mean, that's not bad at all for a resin body to have that little bit of a work done to it. I've gotten resin bodies where it was full of pinholes, and I had to put a ton of primer filler on it. There's zero pinholes on this. I don't see any at all. I mean, it's perfectly smooth, just like a plastic body. So, yeah, it's actually pretty good. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Telephone rang. I'm the only one home, so I had to answer it. So yeah, that's really about it as far as prepping the body. And then paint. Paint, you can use whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You can use enamel, you can use lacquer, you can use acrylic. Resin's pretty friendly to all three of those paints, so you can pick whatever you want. I mean, the Batmobile over there that you've seen already, that's enamel. I have a 29 Ford rod that my dad had. I built it after my dad's. That's lacquer. I can show it to you real quick. You guys probably remember it, but this is a Jimmy Flintstone body. I'm knocking stuff over here. This is a Jimmy Flintstone chopped at 29 that I built like my dad's that he had when he was I think he was in his 20s when he had the 29. It's Ford, so he chopped it and everything else himself. He did all the work himself. So I wanted to build a car like his. So this is a lacquer. So I built one with enamel. I built one with lacquer. You can use acrylic. Doesn't matter. So yeah, use what you want, whatever float your boat. You'll be all set. Now, as far as a glue, you can't, if you want to glue anything to the body, you're going to have to use CA, because obviously mono glue is not going to stick to resin. So, everybody knows I use Gorilla Glue. It's what I like. You don't have to use this. Use whatever you want. The CA glue, you got it. You're all set. Doesn't have to be Gorilla. It could be whatever floats your boat. So, bare metal foil. You can use it just like plastic on this. If you wanted bare metal foil stuff, no different. Or if you want to use a marker or whatever, it's paint, it's no different. Just like a plastic, same thing. So it's all pretty easy peasy stuff. So yeah, if you have any questions, just give me a shout. You probably shouldn't though, because like I said, they're not hard to work with. So, alright guys, take care, and then I'm going to change the blade in this X-Acto number 1. We'll see you in the next video, and I'm going to continue on cleaning this up. Until we get this cleaned up, all of our paint and everything will be dry on the bat plane, and we can get that finished up. Then we'll go back to this. So, alright guys, take care.